Hey everyone, we are back with the CJ Show from Copywriter Today. I'm your host, Colleen, and I got Jeff with me, my sidekick.
Hey, how's it going?
We'll see if anybody pops on, and then we'll start talking about what today's show is going to cover.
Sounds good.
Hopefully, we get some people coming on right when we start, so they don't have to catch it later on. It's always better live.
Oh yeah, that's when magic happens.
Yeah, it's the real deal. Then we want you guys to interact with us a little bit too. That'll answer any questions that we don't cover, but we try to cover every aspect of the topic that we're talking about. So we got one person on. You can say hi, tell us where you're from. Because now we'll be, once everyone starts commenting and sharing this, then they'll be entered into a drawing that we have once a week about the topic today. So this will be important if you want to get entered into the drawing, that you kind of stay on with us just so you can hear how that's going to affect you. So all right, well, we'll just get started today. So we're going to be talking about something that actually just pertains to Copywriter Today. I'm sure they do that with other businesses, but this is something that we not give away, but it's an extra that we add on for anybody that uses our subscription. So it's going to be the content map, and I'm going to pass this over to Jeff, and he's going to tell you a little bit about it.
Yeah, the content map, hopefully the end result will be, if you're not a Copywriter Today customer yet, you're sign on, and then you already know a little bit about just how to use it. But even if you're not a Copywriter Today customer, this is the prize we're giving away this week. And this is an awesome, awesome tool as far as planning out the content for your blog or business website. And, a lot of people have the wrong impression that a blog is just something you do that, when you get aboard, you write something, you make a post. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Your blog actually can be one of your biggest assets. And so this content map makes it possible to plan out the content you're going to be posting for the next 3 to 6 months. So it actually helps you plan ahead, get everything in order. It affects everything from the audience you're going to be approaching, to your sales pitch, to the voice you use in your writing, even scheduling what content's going to be posted when.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great tool to have.
Yeah, and I think the content map is good because, people, when they want this idea of starting up a blog or, starting it back up, if they kind of just forgot about it, is they're kind of scared to take that plunge, So signing with us is something that people hesitate a little bit with, because they're always like, well, I don't have if we're going to get started right away, I don't have any backup and content that I would like, or any ideas. And so this is kind of good. So it leaves you a little worryless, and kind of, like you said, plans ahead for the future, especially if you're signing up with us for, a 3-6 month commitment. Then that's always just good, just so you're not, worrying about what you need to put out for next week.
Yeah, exactly. And when used properly, it'll help you generate headlines. And, really that can be half the battle with content. If you've got a good subject and you know what you're going to write about ahead of time, it's 10 times easier to come up with effective content.
Yeah,
and this content map will provide that for you. There's just a lot of little tools that helps make it easier for planning out your blog posts and what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm. And I noticed last episode we talked about the importance of headlines a little bit as well. So that's kind of how you grab the attention of your audience. But so how would a content map help you kind of determine your audience? Because that's the most important, kind of dialing in a little bit.
Yeah, well, with the way Copywriter Today has it set up for you, you go in, And before you even start focusing on any of the actual writing, you're set the demographics for the audience you want to use. Like I think in the demo videos, Gabe talks about a dog business. So you substitute whatever business it is you have, but you're going, you're kind of set what age group you're aiming towards, what it is they're looking for, how it is that you're going to meet their needs and other interests they might have. So like Gabe uses a great example in the video for the dog food store. You know, another interest that people might have is if they're walking their dogs regularly, they might have another interest in physical fitness as well. Mm-hmm. So it shows you exactly how to choose your audience, everything from age to gender to salary to location, towards how you can serve them. And when you're able to answer all those questions and have the answers sit right there in front of you, it's a lot easier to develop your personal writing voice, and it makes it easier to talk. It'd be like having a conversation with somebody. If you have no idea who you're talking to, you might have difficulties with getting the conversation started. But once you have that set, the conversation just flows a little more natural.
Yeah. And I kind of like how you talked about, two different aspects to, the dog business is, it's about the dog, but it's also, you could also dial in on fitness with the person that's going to be walking their dog. So you'd be surprised at what your audience could be.
Yeah, exactly. And you obviously you want to have a limitation somewhat because you want to have an exact audience, but you also want to be able to open that up a little bit, especially like anytime you're doing a Facebook advertising campaign or something like that. It gives you a specific audience you're aiming towards, and it makes it to where you can get more value for the money you're investing in the campaign.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good point. Because you don't want to get like too off track, because then your results might not be as good as you think. So just something as simple as that is, making sure you're not going too off of the board when you're trying to dial in on your audience.
Yeah, exactly. And that can also play a point for when you're scheduling content on down the road. Mm-hmm. It all ties back into that headline. If you're dialed into the other interest of the audience, it'd be easier to come up with the headlines that's going to get their attention. However, if you're focusing on interests that really aren't that relevant to the group, obviously it's not going to get their attention.
Yeah.
So, like for instance, you could say for a good headline, yeah, give me a second.
No, you're good.
How long about something along the lines of how far you should be walking your dog in order to create an effect on your personal health.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
how those can connect, how much is too much for you and the dog, but a proper amount to affect both of you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're doing something that really doesn't pertain, like best kinds of music to listen to while you're walking your dog, there might not be as many people interested in that.
Right. And that also goes along with keywords. Last episode, so we're going to tie in a little bit from last episode too, that keywords are just as important as the headlines, because it's going to get you an increase on your Google searches, and it helps people that are just doing some searches, and then you'd be more likely to pop up. So how does like the keyword research kind of tie into the content map as well then?
Well, when you're using the content map, you're generally going to be scheduling out the next 3 to 6 months of content. Mm-hmm. And so it's important to have keywords, but you also need some structure and rhythm and rhyme when it comes to it. Like, for instance, you don't want to have 3 months worth of blog posts centered around the same keyword, because that might give you a great opportunity to land on the front page of results with that one keyword, but that kind of limits the organic traffic that's flowing to your site. When you use other keywords that tie along with it, for instance, for my blog, it's my blog ties into my faith, and I was doing some research the other day, and I saw where a keyword similar with church gets a lot of views. Well, then I can also use prayer, and then it goes not like, for instance, if you're using walking your dog, you'd have walking dog. Then another one might be dog leash. Mm-hmm. Another one might be popular parks to walk your dog. So it gives you the chance to align not only a scheduled date with each blog post, but also have your headline set and your keyword set. That way it's as easy as possible to go in later on down the road and create an effective article.
Mm-hmm. And then what I was also thinking about, because you were talking about it in the beginning, is kind of, the effects on your blog posting then. So how would, a content map kind of affect your blog posting?
It gives you the chance to schedule, because to effectively use your blog, you want it to kind of like a season of a TV show. It all has an order. There's chain of events. You want a similar effect with your blog posts. You don't want it just all over the place pertaining to different topics in your industry. You want to have several posts where you focus on one topic. Then you switch over to another topic and do the same thing. And by using your keyword map, it gives you the ability to see what you're planning on writing about 3 months down the road. So you're not using that too much now. That way it's more of a new subject to your blog when you get there. So it makes it easier to plan out exactly what's going to be used when. That way you're using it as much as you should to have the effects you want it to have, without using it too much and make it seem like you're just reading the same post over and over again.
Right. And that'll go in kind of with, when you should be posting and how often you should be posting. Because like you said, you don't want to just like vomit all over your posts and, have a new one every day or a few times a day, because that's just going to be too much and nobody can keep up with it. But you also don't want to, kind of neglect your blog, because nobody's going to remember.
Exactly. And that's where it can be a huge benefit using a copywriter today, because then you just go in at the beginning of the month, you go to your customer dashboard, you set the orders you want, you can set the keywords right there, the headline, you can set the length of the article you want, and you can schedule all that out for exactly when you want it and when you want it to have it posted. Mm-hmm. And it's all taken care of for the rest of the month with no extra effort on your part.
Right. And kind of going back to, updating your blog and your posts and how often you should do that, which kind of brings me, as I was thinking about, the effects of using a content map, but I feel like it wouldn't be as effective if you just, leave it out like how it is. So what would be like how often should you update or make changes to your content map?
I would say regularly, probably every 3 to 6 months. Mm-hmm. But, that there's going to be a lot tie into that. For instance, if you're in an industry that is real big on the latest trends, obviously it's going to be harder to plan that far along ahead of time. You're going to have to be able to change some things. Or also, if you've been making posts for a while off of your content map, and you go back and you look over the analytics of your site and you see you're not getting the results you want, then you might want to either focus on the length of your article, the keywords you're using, or the headlines you're using. And if you're not the content map's never set in stone. You can always go back and change it. And it's something you want to be, I would say, at least review it once every 4 to 6 weeks just to see the kind of results you're getting. Mm-hmm. And that's really, that's where it helps to be with Copywriter today, because that's when you can shoot an email over to your account manager and say, look, this is what I'm seeing on my end. What do you think? And because it's really hard to give an exact number of how often that should be done because of the differences in industries and businesses. And you got to take into consideration what your goals of the content are. One business, the sole purpose of a blog might only be to bring awareness to their name or brand, as whereas another customer, the sole purpose of the blog is simply to drive up conversions and sales. So it's how you use your content map is really going to focus on what the goals are you're wanting to accomplish. And that's what makes it so great is you can individualize it in so many different areas to where it strictly pertains to you and your company and what it is you're wanting to get done.
Right. And so I know you said, 3 to 4 months or 3 to 6 months.
Probably
kind of depends.
Every 3 to 6 months. That gives enough time to get some thorough results from Google and whatnot on where you're ranking and where you're landing at as far as search results. So I would say you definitely want to pay attention to it every month. But as far as making significant changes, unless you have a dire reason to, I would say just review that with your account manager about every 3 months.
Mm-hmm. So what if here's a question for you. So what if, it's not ending up as well as you are? Should you be changing it sooner then? Or should you just kind of ride it out a little bit, especially if it's something new? I just noticed 2 people jumped on real quick. I just want to say, so you guys can just drop us a comment, say hi, tell us where you're from. Today we'll be entering everyone in a drawing, and you'll be winning. What we're talking about right now is the content map. So we'll be announcing the winner on our Friday show at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So I just want to let you guys know that, so you don't have to go back and watch it. But go ahead, Jeff. Sorry about that.
You want to repeat the question?
Yeah. So say you're noticing before that the minimum time that you should be changing your content map, which would be roughly 3 months. So what if you're noticing before that you're getting absolutely no results or the minimum that you can get? Would it be appropriate to change it earlier, or should you just kind of ride it out a little bit?
I would, me personally, I would never just ride something out when it's having a negative effect. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't necessarily mean you go through and completely restructure your content map. That might mean at first, okay, I'm not getting the results I want, so why don't I double the length of each article? Mm-hmm. Or why don't it's thundering bad. Why don't I look at how I'm structuring my keywords throughout the article? So, there's all kinds of slight adjustments that can be made without making drastic changes that can improve the results you're getting.
So let's look at the opposite then. Like, what if your results are, they're phenomenal in the first, let's say, month, and you're like, wow, this is awesome. But then you're kind of noticing that, it was just like you just ran with it. Would it still be appropriate just to make some tweaks, especially if it's just not as consistent then?
Yeah, what I would do is I would go back and look at those first few weeks where you had great results. Mm-hmm. And what I would do is I would look at the individual keyword or keyword phrases being used, and then I would do some research in what other keywords relate to that are showing the best results. And obviously if something works, you don't want to change it. So I would either try to copy or gimmick what I was doing those first few weeks. And if I'm not getting quite as good of results, then maybe I'd try using very similar keywords. That way it'll pertain to the objects that were being searched, but it'll do it in a way to where you can provide fresh content to the blog.
Yeah, awesome. I was kind of thinking that because the keywords could definitely be a factor in, especially if you're dialing in right there. But that's a good point. Just kind of not exactly, copying what you did, because you still want to provide fresh content, but kind of just branching off from that topic a little bit as well.
Exactly. And that's where, by using your content map, you can say like, okay, I want to schedule blog post series for 3 to 5 posts. And then you can also look back 3 months down the road and say, okay, this series focused around this keyword did really good compared to this one that didn't do so great at all. And by looking back and reviewing what's happened in the past, it also makes it where you can plan for later on in the future also.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good point. Which is why the content map is just, everything's kind of structured out. So if you're just making some kind of simple change, it's kind of easy to do that instead of, going all the way back to be like, okay, where did I start in the beginning?
Yeah. And this is a tool like we mentioned earlier. You're not going to just find this resource with any writing service you use. And, it does require a little bit of time. It's an investment to use it, but by taking time to fill it out the way it's properly intended to be used, you'll be able to tell what benefits you should experience within a certain amount of time. It does require a little bit of time, but it's very self-explanatory. And if you do have an issue with something, you can always email your account manager and get some help. And I'm pretty sure they come with the instructional videos that, I watched them just for review the other day, and it makes it very, very simple to use.
Yeah. And like you said, reaching out to your account manager, like I'm sure all of our account managers wouldn't mind putting aside time and honestly just walking you through it and making sure that it's filled out correctly, because there could just be one little, mistake that's really not, it doesn't pertain to your blog or anything along those lines. And that could just be one little thing that can just mess up the results,
Yeah. And your account manager is not going to mind at all, because when you set that up, they can go in and see how, like I said, you literally for weeks ahead of time, even though your content hasn't been written yet, your headline or your topic or keywords right there. Mm-hmm. So it makes the process easier for everyone involved. So the manager is going to have no problem at all walking you through that, because they'll get back the time they spend with it later on down the road.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you for talking about this topic. This is super important to Copywriter today, because we like to make it, as smooth as possible, and especially in those first 3 months that you sign up with us, because those are the 3 most critical months. Receiving feedback from you and dialing in on the writers and, making sure that we have a good structured plan for you. So the 3 months aren't, kind of a pain to deal with, and you're not worrying about the content that you couldn't come up with before.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's the whole point of the content map. If you're just jumping on, we're wrapping up, but you can go back and watch this video. So we talked about the use of our content map that we give out, and if you comment or share, it doesn't have to be during this live. You can, when you rewatch it, you can just ask any questions, or even just saying hi and where you're from. You'll be entered into a drawing that we're going to be having. So we'll put the names in a drawing on our Wednesday shows, and on Friday we will be announcing the winner of that drawing. So if you just comment and share it, then you can be entered into our drawing to win. Right now we have the content map, which is something that people that are subscribed with us, that they have to pay for. So it's an extra add-on. So it's an awesome opportunity to win a complimentary content map and just kind of get yourself started and give you that little push, just so you're not you're not scared of moving forward with your blog, or if you're at a standstill, or if you want to even start a blog with us. So that's always going to be something good to have. It's good, for organization, and good for the future of your blog. So Jeff, do you want to? Yeah,
I would say, this content map has value to everybody, but especially if the main goal of your content is to increase sales, this is something you want to use, because this is something that's going to anytime you can look down the road and see what you're doing business wise, it's a huge plus. And that's exactly what this is. It allows you to effectively schedule what content you're going to use. And it's great for any time you're trying to use your blog as far as increasing sales.
Yep. And building that traffic that you've been, wanting on your blog itself for a long time. So, with the use of the content map, we're going to dial in on everything from, the headlines, keywords, and all the content that you're going to be getting for however long you're going to be signed with us, which we hope for life, right?
Yeah, of course.
All right. If nobody has any other questions, we are going to sign off for the day. And don't forget to comment and share so we can, we love giving out stuff to people and kind of giving them, a little taste of kind of what our business is. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment or, reach out to us at all on our copywritertoday.net website, which you can find the blog for this after. And also, if you want any of the notes from today's show, we're willing to give those out. That's no secret. We're telling you everything that we talked about before the show and everything we have written down. So, comment on our page, or you could send a message to the Copywriter Today page, or, there's always a way to kind of reach out to us. So, Jeff, if you have nothing else to say, then I think it's time to wrap it up. And
I'm good. I'm
all right.
Friday show to see who wins.
Yes, so. I'm looking forward to giving something away, guys. Let's get this kicked off so you guys can.
You know what? Maybe people can have their name entered in the drawing twice if you comment what you think the score will be for tonight's Cubs and Dodgers game, or the Indians versus White Sox.
Yeah, there we go.
The score and it's correct, you get your name put in twice.
Yes, then we'll just have you as a host. We like people who like baseball.
Okay.
All right, guys, you have a good rest of your day, and we, hope to see you guys on Friday's show. All right, guys, have a good one.
See you then.